basically flat, okay? And now try to extend and flex. Do you feel how the extension's a little restricted because that pronation is twisting you? Do you guys feel that? I feel that. Now, if you put your arm up here, I'm still flat, right? And then do wrist extension and flexion. And does that feel freer to you in the movement versus here when you're pronated? It's a more accurate movement if you've got the forearm in neutral. Okay, so if my forearm is in neutral, I can flex and extend like this just fine. In order to keep my forearm in neutral, but make my wrist a flat surface, I just abduct my shoulder. Does everybody see that? Okay, so my forearm is neutral, abduct my shoulder to 90 degrees, my forearm is still neutral. Okay? So in order for me to do that with my patient, I need to have a surface for her to be able to put her arm on where she's at about 90 degrees of abduction.
That's going to be for flexion and extension.
Yep. All right, so everybody see that? Now this table is not super comfortable because it's got a ledge on it, so I'm going to get a little towel there and pat it. Doesn't need to be a big towel. It's just, it's not comfortable on that ledge. All right. And then I want her off of the table just enough that when she flexes, the table doesn't get in the way. Okay? And so we do flexion and extension in this position. It's probably better to have your little Goni, because this big Goni is going to look really, really big against her hand. But I'll show you this way. So when she's flexing and extending, what are my landmarks? Where's my fulcrum need to be? The ulnar styloid process. And I'm going to tell you that that's not exactly where your axis of rotation is occurring, or your axis of movement. Okay, we've got 2 layers of carpal bones, and that ulnar styloid process is in the distal forearm. Okay, the movement's happening between the distal forearm and the first row of carpals, and then between the first row of carpals and the second row of carpals, and then really also between the second row of carpals and those metacarpals. So the movement's kind of happening across all of that. So you're going to see when you align this that it's not going to look exactly right. Okay, that it's not going to look like that's the fulcrum of your movement. Okay, maybe I do need to use somebody smaller again. Sorry. Thank you. Because my fulcrum is too big. It's in the way. But I am going to align it. So come around here if you need to. I am going to align it at her ulnar styloid process. And then this is going to the olecranon process here, right? Okay, so my proximal arm goes from ulnar styloid process to olecranon process, following the ulna there. And then I'm going to ask her to lift her wrist up. Now, do you see that that fulcrum's not quite right? Does everybody see that? Because my distal arm needs to be parallel to this 5th metacarpal. Right now, it's at an angle pointing to the end of that metacarpal. Does everyone see that? So instead, I need to be parallel. So what I like with this little Goni is I can kind of make this directly along her 5th metacarpal so that the alignment is correct. Can everybody visualize that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm not pointing to the distal end of her 5th metacarpal. I'm parallel to her 5th metacarpal. So it's almost like the ankle, right? I could potentially slide this down like we did in the ankle, right? That's still correct. Does everybody see that alignment's correct? Mm-hmm. Or I can slide it back and put this again on her ulnar styloid process, and then just make sure that is parallel, bless you, to the metacarpal. All right? This would be wrong. That is not the right angle. Okay? All right. So that active measurement there, we will give her 76 degrees, and I'm going to push a little bit more, double check my alignments. That's a pretty firm end feel there. I'm going to say 92. Does everybody see that? My alignments are still good. Okay? Make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. So flexion's the opposite. All right. Go ahead and bend your wrist down for me. So again, I'm going to actually slide you out just a little. All right. Bend down for me. So again, I have to be parallel. So right now it looks like this line is more parallel to her fifth. Actually, no, it's really more in between those two lines that's parallel to her fifth. Okay, she has 89 degrees of active flexion, and then if I push farther, she has more than normal, and I'm pushing my table. And we'll give that 98 degrees. Okay, you see that? I wasn't quite on the ulnar styloid process there, but I was still parallel, and that's what's important, is to be parallel to the fifth and parallel to the ulna. All right, because that movement's being dispersed over multiple layers of carpal bones and the distal forearm and the hand. Okay? All right, try those two measurements.